Right. I think I'm now louder than I've ever been before in the history of this podcast.
And then before we know it, you'll have to turn it down for the next time we record.
I am well aware of that. Okay, listen. So, hi, everyone. This is Your Time Starts Now. We're a Taskmaster podcast. Before we were recording this, we had some issues where I was apparently very quiet. Probably am very quiet. Except that I went into the settings on my laptop and turned them all the way up for the microphone. So now my waveform is going off the charts, which has never happened before in the history of this podcast. So we're going to have to see how that goes.
Anyway, I'm Emerson.
And I'm Joe. I'm also very loud, possibly, or quiet.
And anyway, welcome to the two-part special Taskmaster Champion of Champions, abbreviated to CoC. The title of this episode now makes sense. Okay, anyway, before we start into the episode, though, Joe, what has happened in the brief time we've been away?
My brother got married.
Oh, congratulations to your brother.
Fun. I was one of his groomsmen. I went down to
Anything
Miami
else?
for that. Which, congratulations to him. It's really funny because my family is a bunch of nerds, but he doesn't look like he's a nerd. Because he runs like 10 miles a day and drives a sports car. He's a doctor in South Florida. And you forget that he's a nerd until at his wedding, the walk-out music for the groom, for everyone, because, it's a traditional style wedding, was a string version of one of the main themes from the Halo series. And the walk-out music was a string version of the Star Trek The Next Generation theme song, and all the music in between was like various soundtrack bits from The Legend of Zelda, which was also how he proposed to his fiancée. Was he put the ring at the end of the bed and made it look like the scene from Legend of Zelda where it's dangerous to go alone, take this.
Wow.
I'm not making any of this up.
Can I just say that's a dope way to propose to someone?
That is very much. It still does. I preferred how my other brother got married about 7 years ago, which is we all went out to Vegas and there was a Ferris wheel there's a giant Ferris wheel on the Las Vegas Strip, and so we got in the Ferris wheel and they married him and his wife at the top of the Ferris wheel.
Oh, that's nice. Like they married him or he proposed?
No, we all went out to Vegas. It's a giant Ferris wheel, so it's like 30 people in one pod. And
it's kind of like the London Eye.
Yeah, I think it's the same manufacturer as the London Eye, but or maybe not. But it's a giant Ferris wheel like that. So the pod next to us had a bar in it.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So when are you going to get married, Joe? You're next in line in your brothers.
Okay, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. First, that involves I have to get a girl. So, we have to get to that step first.
Don't worry, I'm single too, don't worry.
Yeah, I know. Although, can I just say, you are certainly further along than I am. I saw your Instagram post, you in Croatia with 15 girls from your pole dancing club.
No, there was 19 of them. 19
girls! Gee, my God, that is how you do it.
Yeah, I'm very public. People wrote on me. You've probably seen the things people wrote on me.
Okay, I need to specify something. I decided I was going through Instagram. I showed my mom the picture because I don't really have any pictures of what you look like. The first picture. I didn't realize there were 9 other pictures.
Why couldn't you show the one next to me? The genuinely nice one.
Because I saw that one first, because I hadn't opened Instagram in a day. And I showed that one to my mom. Mom saw that it was a scrolling picture and scrolled through the Instagram post to the picture of what I assume is your lower back with "Peg Me" written on it. So thanks, Emerson. Thanks, Emerson. That.
Oh God! You should have seen what else I had written on me.
I don't want to see. I didn't need to see that. That is what we call in the United States too much information.
Oh no, there's something. No, you have to know some of these. You have to know some of these. So I had "I swallow" written on my throat.
Yeah, yes, I did see that when I looked through the other pictures.
But there's another one. This is a big in joke. Someone wrote "Say no to sex on the beach" as in the cocktail on my arm.
Yes, I have heard of Sex on the Beach, the drink.
Do you know why? Do you know why it said "Say no to sex on the beach"?
I'm assuming it's a say no to drugs joke.
No. Well, it depends on what way you look at it. I had a sex on the beach for the first time that trip, and I had an allergic reaction because of it.
You are badly equipped for vacation, it feels like.
Oh no, I think it was the pineapple syrup, because pineapple syrup is so artificial that there must have been some sort of chemical in it. But I had hives all over my face. It was honestly, in retrospect, it was fucking hilarious.
Did anyone draw polka dots around the hives?
No, literally they gave me an antihistamine, and literally the hives were gone in about 10 minutes.
Oh, that's a bummer. I would have doodled. I think the next move would have been to doodle on your face.
What was it, like colored mint so I look like I have a face of a cow?
Yeah, or like polka dots or something. Make you look like Mr. Blobby.
Yeah. Anyway, those girls are amazing. I love all of them.
Good for you, man. 19 girls and one guy. What show is that from? I think it's from the Sweet Life, Zack and Cody. There was a guy who was saying, I was the only guy on my cheerleading squad. Me and a bunch of pretty girls. My mama didn't raise no fool. Which
no, the thing is though, I genuinely love doing pole fitness. Regardless of who it is, I genuinely love it.
I'm not saying that it's you're only doing it for the girls. I'm saying that that's a really good side benefit.
I mean, it certainly broadens my horizons and pushes me to do things I didn't know I could do.
Which is why you have "peg me" written on your lower back, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's the furthest we'll go into the topic of pegging this episode.
Okay.
That's the furthest in it's ever gonna go.
You're not using enough lube. Anyways.
I didn't. No, I didn't.
So we are on to... We are now on to the episode, because I feel if we go any further down this, madness will ensue. Also, I'm recording this episode outside because it's really nice out. So I'm sitting out in my gazebo. And
so that's why I can hear some funny noises.
Yeah, that's called birds, because, I am, in fact, outside because it's nice out. That's why I'm on my laptop.
I would go outside, but it's bloody 11:30 in the evening here.
That is not an excuse. You can go outside in the dark. We have nocturnal vision, semi-nocturnal vision.
But the thing is, I can't really I can't go into the garden because I'll have to go through my housemate's bedroom to go into the garden, and his girlfriend is in there with him.
Good for him. Anyways, on to this episode. Wily Giraffe Blower is the title.
So,
although it is not called that actually on the YouTube episode. It's actually just called Champion of Champions Episode 1.
Oh, also, I should mention all the episodes on YouTube started being available for viewing in the UK, except Champion of Champions for some reason. Like they're now on Series 8. Anyway,
well, actually, we just got the announcement online that Series
13,
6, 7, and 8 are available to watch in the US. Like they've unregion blocked them.
Okay, well that's weird because I thought they were all up there anyway.
No, they're up, but they're region locked.
Oh, okay. Well, they're definitely region locked in the UK. Well, they were until recently.
Because how a lot of people got into Taskmaster was when it was in 2019. They started releasing each episode, and they would release it one a day for a season, then wait a little bit. So a lot of the episodes came up on YouTube in order. So they started with season 1 before the pandemic.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like it's because of the pandemic that Taskmaster has so many foreign viewers.
Honestly, I got into it before the pandemic. I think it's just because it's one of those really big hits. Like, it is for the level of quality it is, normally you would have to find, like, cam rips on YouTube, and for it to be up on YouTube altogether, it gets a lot more traction.
Yeah, it's why the Taskmaster YouTube page is so popular. Like, I feel like every single episode has at least 800,000 views.
Yeah, this is why, like, Cats Down or Would I Lie to You is kind of a, still a low down thing, is because those you have to, like, piece together from clips on YouTube. Taskmaster is fully up.
I feel should Taskmaster post, I don't know if I can. I was going to say, should Taskmaster still post individual tasks if it posts full episodes?
They do post individual tasks.
Yeah, but should they do it?
I'm not sure. I kind of like it sometimes, but it's better for depending on your attention span,
I guess.
Although, speaking of individual tasks, there is some Taskmaster news. For long-time listeners, hi Spelvin, might have remembered a couple of seasons ago we talked about Google doing a series of ads involving Taskmaster, like for Google Translate and their other services like that.
Yeah.
Those ads were so unable to be compared from, like, unable to be distinguished from the actual Taskmaster show that Ofcom made them take them down, at least on television broadcasting. In the UK.
I didn't know that, but that's not good.
Well, no, it's because they didn't have, like, enough of a thing that said this is an ad. So they might come back up with a much larger, like, graphic that says this is an advertisement.
I think we're forgetting the most important piece of news that will make our scheduling a little bit difficult.
Which is?
Okay, so for reference, if you're listening to this episode on the day it goes out, it's April 14th.
Also, we love you because you're listening to this podcast on the first day it came out and not finding out about it through, like, the recommendations.
I guess, but if you're listening to this episode on the day it comes out, it's April 14th, and April 14th is also the day that Taskmaster Series 13 starts. So we're, at least for this week and next week, our episodes are going to be coinciding with Series 13. And
are we competing with Edward Gamble's Pirate Podcast too, or?
I don't know. I'm thinking, should we change? I mean, we're not going to go immediately into Series 6 after this. We're going to do Taskmaster USA, because chronologically it would come after this. That's I
think it's going to depend on how we want to record it. Because I'm not entirely sure.
You're not sure how we're going to do what?
Record the Taskmaster USA episodes, because I have.
Well, I think we could just record them as we normally would.
Episodes.
My suggestion of how to structure them is, so there's 8 episodes, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, they aired 2 episodes on one day, back to back, for some weird reason. Sorry, I hiccuped. They air 2 episodes back to back, and each episode's only half an hour. So what I'm thinking is, to keep the process relatively short, but still long enough to keep people's interest, we make it a 4-part series, and in each episode we cover 2 episodes of Taskmaster USA.
We could do that.
Because if we made it an 8-week, because I feel like if our coverage of a series of Taskmaster should not last longer than the airing of it.
Yeah, but this is a U.S. butchering of an airing of Taskmaster, so I don't think that really qualifies. If you have any suggestions,
I would be more comfortable
doing
it that way.
Okay, we can try that. I definitely.
It's just like, we talk about one episode, and then we'll just say, "All right, now on to the next episode."
We can definitely do that. I just think we'll figure it out. But I think. Do we want to get onto this episode after our obligatory 15 minutes of banter?
Yeah, and then weirdly fast coverage of the episode. Who's going to take the prize task, and who's going to?
That is up. Do you want to?
I'm just looking at the tasks.
Do you have a coin? Because I don't have a coin. Here, actually, I have.
No, I'll ask Siri to flip a coin. And
Okay. Tails.
okay. Hey Siri, flip a coin. Flip a coin. It said heads. Did you catch that?
Yeah. So what does that mean?
You said tails. You said
I
tails.
know. What do I don't get to pick, I guess?
All right. We'll ask it again. If it's heads, I do the prize task. Tails, you do the prize task. I'm going to ask it to do it again, okay? You ready?
Yes.
Hey Siri, flip a coin.
It's tails this time.
Tails, so you're doing it.
You have a male voice for Siri?
I can't be asked to change it, okay?
I didn't know that was the default voice in the UK. In the
No,
US,
it's
it's
like
a woman.
No, the thing is, I've reset my AirPods so many times that I can't be asked to change my Siri voice at this point.
Okay. So
That's it.
So to open into the episode, this episode is, as I've said a couple of times now, it's called Wily Giraffe Blower.
And also, we should establish who our contestants are. Our 5 previous champions in alphabetical order: Series 5 champion Bob Mortimer, our OG champion Josh Widdicombe, Katherine Ryan from Series 2, the Goth Crow from Series 4, Noel Fielding, and
what alphabet are you using?
That's how they're sat. They're sat in this order.
Josh Widdicombe comes after Bob Mortimer in which alphabet?
In alphabetical order, J comes after B.
Oh, you're going by first name.
Yes, that's how Taskmaster has always sat its contestants, in alphabetical order of first name.
I wrote them down
right.
I mixed up the order in mine.
You can write them in any order. I'm just reading them in the order of which I'm reading them in alphabetical order by first name, which is how Taskmaster likes to introduce its contestants.
Yeah.
So I'll start again. Our contestants are Bob Mortimer, Josh Widdicombe, Katherine Ryan, Noel Fielding, and Rob Beckett. And this is the first of 2 episodes of Champion of Champions. Anyway, Joe, over to you with the banter and prize task.
This episode opened with actually a montage. Normally, Taskmaster opens with a montage of the most remarkable stuff from the season to come. This time, it's opened with the remarkable stuff that our winners have done in their respective appearances on Taskmaster. There is also a much different musical cue because they actually open before that on the YouTube video. They open with a montage of each person hoisting their trophy aloft, and it's with a ceremonial music. The Taskmaster music is a little bit different. It's a little bit jazzier. And then we open into the show. There's a lot more gold motif in this series because it's the Champion of Champions. So the little wax seals are all gold. There's going to be a gold archway over the front door of the Taskmaster house. A bunch of other things like that.
And also Alex is wearing a gold morph suit.
Yes, in the commercial bumps. Which just to get those out of the way.
Which Whitley has his nose sticking out of it.
No, I was going to say, as the commercial bumps progress, or commercial idents progress, more and more of Alex's face pokes out of the morph suit. Because in the first one, there's nothing. Then his nose, then his mouth. For each of the 3 idents, if you go back and watch it, they expose more of Alex for each one.
I'll have to do that a bit later. But anyway, please talk us through the prize task, Joe.
Yes, they are, of course, competing to win the Champion of Champions trophy, which is Greg Davis's body, but not his head or his dick, because there's a little wax seal over the crotch.
Yeah. Have you seen this episode before?
No.
Okay, I will not. You'll see what the trophy looks like next episode. But yeah,
no, they did show it. The trophy.
I hate to rain on your parade, but that's a small scale replica of the trophy.
Oh, okay.
Champions.
So the prize task this week, the thing that genuinely causes them,
everything will click into place.
Okay.
Everything. All right. The statue didn't have Greg's head, right?
Yeah. Is it life science to the head? Ha ha. That's great. Okay.
I mean, he's cracked the code, but yeah.
That's good. Anyways, so this task is the thing that genuinely caused the contestants the most embarrassment. And first up is Bob Mortimer, who is not embarrassed by this thing at all. Because this is a picture his son drew for like a school art thing where they they hoisted up and showed in front of all the other parents at the end of the school year. And Bob's kid decided to draw dog poop or dog dirt, as it is labeled on the picture. Bob is not really that embarrassed by it, because how could Bob Mortimer even begin to comprehend the concept of shame?
He has no shame.
Nope. Then
we need more people like Bob Mortimer in this world.
Oh, yeah. Then we have Josh Widdicombe, who is a total 180 from what Bob is. Because, so, I'm going to admit, I don't exactly know what this program is, but Josh went on a rather serious political program called Andrew Neil's This Day in Politics.
No, it's This Week in Politics.
This Week in Politics, I apologize. And it's a serious political show. I believe he was being asked about some sort of hiring discrimination in the workplace. And you can tell that he did not do his homework on what this show is about. And so he is spluttering and stuttering and absolutely not ready for this level of questioning. And no one is helping him, because there's like two other people on the other couch, and they're just not no-selling him all the way through this. And he is just, I don't like cringe comedy, because I feel that, and then I want to cringe up inside myself, and this was doing it. What's really good is that Rob Beckett, as soon as Josh says what it is, because he brought in a DVD of this, he starts laughing because Rob went on the week after that and asked Josh, what is this show like? And Josh said, you'd better watch it first. And Rob is still cackling over that. So that is very bad, although not quite as bad in a different way as what Katherine Ryan did. Because Katherine Ryan did not, at the young age of whatever she was in Canada, understand shame either, or geopolitics, or history, because her younger sister had to be in some sort of history project for school. Schools do this. They make you make videos and stuff like that to show that you understand your history class. And nobody ever seems to understand that the average 8th grader is a fucking moron and wouldn't know how to use an editing program to save their life. So all of these are bad. And this is really worse because Catherine's attempt at this time is clearly some sort of World War II history fact, which she decided to introduce by having an interview with Hitler, portrayed by her younger sister.
And they had to do multiple takes of it. Because the sister keeps laughing.
Yes. I really like how it's presented, too, because they have her sister dressed up as Hitler on, like, one side of the screen, how you would with an interview on, like, the news, and then where they normally have, like, the thing like, this is so-and-so, he's from this country, they actually drew a swastika on the wall, which I think that every kid does this at some point, is they do not understand that the swastika is that bad, and so they will try to draw it, and the teacher has to frantically tell them, no, do not do that. But because they did it at home, Katherine didn't get that warning.
Do you think if you draw a swastika the other way, it's more okay? No.
Because you also have to understand that the average teacher doesn't realize or care that the
it's sort of like
Hindu swastika is a real thing that people use, but most of the time they'll just assume you're drawing the Nazi symbol.
Because no, I'm not going to keep going because I was going to say something, but I feel like I might dig myself a hole, but I'm not going to say it. Anyway, who's next?
Well, I was going to say Catherine's parents got called into the school by the very angry German history teacher. It was really funny.
Calling it a very angry German history teacher is already funny because we know what Germans are like when they're angry. Have you seen German SpongeBob?
I have not.
Well,
I have not. I cannot imagine.
While I'm talking about the next task, you go and find the clip called German SpongeBob is.
I will look that up.
It's only about 10 seconds, but oh god.
I will. Anyways, the teacher in this case was a German man who was teaching history, and he was very upset. Anyways, up next is Noel, who has
Noel,
a
Noel.
very he just has a picture of when he went to, I'm assuming, Disney World in the 80s when he was like 15.
If that's Disney World, that ticker costume is awful.
It was the 80s. I mean, I believe Winnie the Pooh is a Disney property, at least in the United States. So,
I mean, it's one of those. I hate to say it, but Winnie the Pooh is one of those things that's been really over-Americanized.
okay, I'm just saying that it's probably Disney World because they would have the rights to use the costumes.
Yes,
But it's just Noel looking incredibly gangly and unkempt like a 14-year-old, and it's very embarrassing for Noel, but nobody else. And then we have Rob Beckett. Now, this item does not appear very embarrassing on the peak because it is just a pair of silk underpants with elephants on them.
it's the backstory you need.
However, this piece of clothing gets more and more embarrassing with each sentence that Rob says. He bought them at an airport on his honeymoon. But why did he buy them at an airport on his honeymoon? And where can you fucking buy underpants at an airport? But that's a question for another time.
I think maybe because I'm going on holiday again with my parents in like July. We're flying, so I'll probably be able to take a look around whichever airport we go to, and I'll let you know if they sell underpants. I'll even take a picture of myself with a pair of underpants in the airport if I find it.
Oh, goody. Now, I just normally pack spare underwear in my carry-on.
I mean, I'm no stranger to taking pictures with pictures of underwear because, like, real quick story. While we were in Croatia, we had this challenge where we had to get a picture of us with a certain object, and one of our tasks was we had to get a picture with a bloke in Speedos. So I got a picture of my bloke in Speedos. I got right down to his crotch level and took it from like an upward-facing view. So
Emerson,
you've got my face in the corner.
I don't need to hear how you upskirted a guy wearing a Speedo. That is, again, what we call in the United States too much information. But
well,
anyway,
you are the king of giving up You're talking to the king of giving up too much information. So
I am aware of that. I have been doing a podcast with you.
Anyway, have you mentioned the big fundamental component?
Why did Rob Beckett need to? No, I didn't say it yet. Rob Beckett shit himself.
Oh, I was going to ask, why did Rob Beckett?
He shit himself in the airport. And more to the point, this is apparently not the first time, because when he told his new wife on their way to their honeymoon that he had shit himself and needed to buy new underwear, she merely said, "Again?" Which I feel that is the most embarrassing part of this whole story. But who knows? Anyways,
the only thing more embarrassing than an embarrassing moment is people's reactions to it.
People agreeing with you, yeah. Scores.
Anyways, the scores.
Noel 5th, Bob 4th, Rob 3rd, Katherine 2nd, and Josh 1st. And if you just want to like play the Taskmaster Joe theme at like 4 times speed, we can do that right here.
Okay.
Because all I have for it to change is I put Bob below Noel, and everything else is the same. Because I think that Noel's is more embarrassing to him, and Bob does not deserve any embarrassment points because he said he wasn't embarrassed by it in the episode.
Fair enough. Anyway, if things will allow, we will go on to the next task, which is me. So our first VT task is... Now, I think I should stress, before we go into the VT tasks, Alex and Greg did debate as to whether they should do something...
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I was listening to German SpongeBob, and my headphones don't fit properly.
Oh, play it out loud. Play it out loud. I want to listen to it.
It is very loud. I did not realize it was that loud.
Okay. I heard a bit of it, and it's like...
Yeah, because hold on, here we go. Yeah, that was German
I can't hear
SpongeBob yelling meme video on YouTube. It is clearly someone who's jacked up the volume for
Yeah,
at
that's
least
the
some
one.
of it.
Anyway, I think I should stress that Alex and Greg considered doing something different for the Champion of Champions special, and then they changed their mind and basically are doing exactly the same format as for the usual series. So we've got a couple of VT tasks and then a live task following the standard prize task. Anyway, VT task 1, it's a choice of 2. Either throw an exercise ball into a bathtub or put all the coconuts into a shopping trolley. And there's...
you must throw the exercise ball from under a roof, and you may not move the bath.
Oh yeah, I did write that down as well.
You must not touch any of the coconuts with your hands, and you may not move the shopping trolley.
I should note we're back at the gazebos. You might remember.
There's a lot of callbacks in this task because aside from the gazebos being a frequent location, that is the shopping cart from season 2.
Yeah, the exercise ball's also from series 2. And the bath from the very first episode.
Yep. The coconuts are also just normal callbacks, and then here's the fun one. The table the coconuts are sitting on is the one from last season where they had to it was the one with the 3 tasks that Aisling ended up standing on top of.
I've just had an amazing thought, but I'll get to it when I talk about it.
That is the same table.
I've just drawn another parallel, but I'll tell you it when we get to it. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're back at the gazebos. You might remember this from the task where they had to try and get flour onto the darts in series 4.
They've had a couple other ones. They had that I can't hear you text. That I can't hear you task.
That one. Anyway, so up first to bat is Bob and Katherine. So Bob opts to throw the exercise balls into the bath. He faffs around with them for a bit, but then he makes the extremely smart decision to let the air out of some of them so they're easier to carry. And I'm just thinking, do you know the exercise ball task in the very first episode of the second series? They had to keep the ball.
The balls had to be inflated when they were at the top of the hill. Also, can I just appreciate that that Bob tried to rules lawyer the task before realizing that he hadn't read it through all the way, which I think is really funny because Bob is actually a lawyer.
Really?
And
I didn't know that.
Didn't you ever hear did you ever watch the one where the episode of Would I Lie to You where he says he's the cockroach king? He was named that because he was the lawyer for a large suit of tenants against landlords for substandard housing and
I don't think I did. I don't
insects.
actually watch a lot of Bob Mortimer on Would I Lie to You.
I just watch. That is the only thing I watch from Would I Lie to You. But
well, you and I are very different in that case. Anyway, Bob lets some air out of the exercise balls to make them easy to hold, and he carries them nearer to the gazebo closest to the bathtub, and he throws one of the deflated ones in, and he gets it in. It takes him about 8 minutes. Katherine, meanwhile, also opts for throwing the exercise balls into the bath, and she carries the exercise balls to the same gazebo, but she can't get them in. She hasn't let air out of them. But then what she does is she moves the table so that because you have to be under a roof to throw the exercise ball into the bath, she's throwing it under the roof of the table into the bath and throws it and she gets it in. And I've just thought of this. I literally only thought of this as you were talking about the parallels. Katherine throws the exercise ball debajo de la mesa.
That's great. But can I just point out something else?
It was her series as well.
Yeah. Can I point out something else? Katherine picks up all 3 of the balls at once, and then as soon as Alex says it only has to be 1 ball, she drops 2 of them because she's had to deal with that shit before.
Oh, dear. I didn't notice that, but I was more impressed with the notice of debajo de la mesa and the fact that it was Katherine of all people who...
Yeah, there is a lot of callbacks in this episode.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of the episode, the advertisement bumps for the next episode. Some callbacks as well. You'll see what I mean when we watch it and talk about it next week.
Okay.
But anyway,
also,
Katherine gets it in slightly faster than what?
Quote from Catherine, 1 ball is easier than 3.
Yeah. I think Jimmy Carr made a joke about that sometime. He said, like, I'm not super self-conscious about the fact that this is what a Jimmy Carr joke. He said, I'm not super self-conscious about the fact that one of my testicles is bigger, than the other two.
If you or someone you know experiencing 3 testicles, please see a medical professional at once. Anyways, continuing on to
Rob Beckett, and I want to point out Rob's outfit for this. He's done a jumpsuit and he's got Champ 2016 written on the back.
And he has it pinned to his front too, on his lapel.
I could have sworn that there was more than one series of Taskmaster in 2016.
I don't think so. Also, I would like to note, just for anyone who was wondering, we're not doing a floral shirt count this episode because nobody's wearing one. Noel was wearing a red tracksuit, Bob dressed like shit, and Rob and Josh Widdicombe had full
England kit.
English World Cup kit on.
Like 1966.
Because of course... Yep, that was the last time they won, because of course he did.
To be fair, though, we've won the Football World Cup more times than you have.
Yeah, but how many times have you won the Super Bowl or the World Series?
Only one country competes in the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh. And we've won it every time.
You can't win an international competition. You can't brag about winning if you're the only...
We've won the World Series more times than anybody else.
How many countries compete in the World Series?
Canada and the United States.
Then why is it called the World Series? Anyway,
because it's baseball.
We've been experiencing some technical difficulties. It's late. Literally, I'm having a nightmare of an episode recording, so I'm going to rattle on. Anyway, Rob, carries one ball to the bandstand, throws it bounces in, and it goes in, and he says, "See you later. I'm not even going to bother soundbiting that." And he gets it in 1 minute, 52 seconds. Noel basically does exactly the same as Rob, except he gets it in 1 minute, 29 seconds. Now...
Because he ran.
Yes, he ran. Josh. Little Josh Widdicombe.
There is a soundbite I was going to request, which is...
Josh Widdicombe's last. Yeah. That means one of 2 things on this show.
Yep. Anyway, Rob, why do I keep getting... Josh Widdicombe, excuse me, considers throwing the exercise ball, but he throws it from the main gazebo rather than the one closest to the bath. I've wrote in brackets, why? So then he opts to transport...
I was wondering that too.
And then he decides he'll try transporting the coconuts. And he rips a bin bag out of a nearby bin, and he starts using that and his jumper to shovel the coconuts and put them in the shopping trolley. Bag. I'm not exactly sure. There was a measurement. Was it one coconut every 6 seconds or something?
Yes, one coconut per 6 seconds. He didn't empty the garbage bag the first time. That one still had some shit in it.
But anyway,
which I thought was really
Josh
funny.
takes a surprisingly quick time for what he did, 11 minutes. To get all the coconuts in the shopping trolley. So,
also, if you look very carefully at the shopping trolley, you will notice that it still doesn't have the wheels on it from the season 2 task where they took the wheels off of it.
Well, you can't. They said you can't move the shopping trolley, so they're not going to make you move it.
Oh, but wouldn't it have been crueler if they'd put wheels on it and it made it really easy to move?
Oh God, that would have been. If they had done that, I probably would have been so. I would have hated Alex Horn, but love him at the same time. Anyway, scores. Noel just pips Rob to first place. Catherine gets third. Bob gets fourth, and Josh obviously gets fifth. Sorry, meaning that Catherine and Rob are currently in joint first place. Anyway, you're up next for task 2.
Task 2. Blow something substantial off this table. Most substantial thing blown off this table wins. You have 5 minutes to select the item you think you can blow off the table and place it on the center circle. Then 1 minute to blow it off the table. Your time starts now. Now, I would like to make the very obvious joke first. Nobody made the oral sex joke, okay? And they really should have. I think that's what Bob was trying to stop himself from doing it.
There was a funny moment with Josh, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, but I do just want to take the moment, and we just have to acknowledge, yes, there's a really obvious blowjob joke here.
Alex, get on the table.
I wish that someone had tried to make it, but they didn't.
Alex, get on the table.
So, yep, I would have resisted doing that joke if I were on this episode, but it would have been hard. But
I mean, it's Taskmaster. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Some things to note: Josh Widdicombe has asthma,
and we've been
as we noted. Yep, and as I noted, Bob Mortimer really has to stop and contain himself about the ridiculousness of this task, which I think is something notable. Starting off, we get Noel Fielding, who, after trying a variety of things, including a plastic giraffe, which gives us our name for this episode, he eventually just panics and grabs a packet, a snack-size bag of Cheetos Puffs. Not even regular Cheetos. They are corn puffs with Cheetos flavor.
How have they got hold? I mean, I know how they got hold of them because there's small American sections in the UK supermarkets. But why Cheetos?
Are Cheetos Puffs not sold in the United Kingdom?
No, because we've got our own equivalent. But you can find them in the international section of some smaller supermarkets.
That never even registered to me because it's just a kind of food here. It's I hesitate to call it Cheetos food.
We've got our own brand of puffs. Alex has mentioned several times that Wotsits are the cheese puffs they use.
Huh. That's very interesting.
Although some supermarkets will have their own brand of puffs.
Oh, that's neat.
Something else I won't name drop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Something else I would like to note here really quickly is, as I noted way back in whichever season Paul Chowdhury was in. Series 3, they didn't have good slow-mo tech back then. Now they have great slow-mo cameras because Noel's blowing the thing off the table was done in perfect slow-mo.
Woohoo!
They actually went back and refilmed it because when the bag lands on the carpet, it does so in slow motion. And I think that was a separate camera shot because it lands perfectly label up. Maybe that was a sponsored bit. Who knows? Anyways, then we have
I wonder how
Bob
much they paid them.
I don't know, especially for a product that isn't sold in the UK. But then we have Bob Mortimer, who, again, tries to select several objects, including a glass globe that doesn't roll at all, because it's dimpled, like a golf ball. And then he eventually just grabs a tall boy can of lager, which I think is really interesting, is that we fully see the logo on the Cheetos, but the can of beer has the logo covered with a Post-it note. So I don't know what brand it is, but from my American brain, it looks like Budweiser. But I don't know.
I mean, there's been some very obvious hints at removing labels in the past.
Yeah, but the can, there's red and white stripes that are reminiscent of some Budweiser advertising stuff.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that's what it is. Somebody will know. Please put it in the comments or email us at ytsnpod@gmail.com. But anyways, then a brief dispute back in the studio arises over what counts as substantial. Greg feels that weight might be substantial, and in that case, the lager was 300 grams and the Cheetos were 13 grams. Then we have something that I feel is very substantial, and so does Greg. Rob Beckett takes his contacts off and blows them across the table and onto the ground, which I think is such a fucking ridiculous thing to do that it automatically goes into first place. And spoiler alert, it does get first place because holy shit. I wear contacts. I am just as blind as Rob Beckett would be, and holy fuck, I would never take them out for any reason. So that is a lot. Next up, Katherine and Josh are shown together, and they are the first two people to do what I would have done after making the blowjob joke, would have been to go out to the shed and grab the leaf blower. Although Katherine didn't use the leaf blower, Katherine used a hairdryer. But Katherine's weird in this one. She tried to make a sail out of a garbage bag and a garbage can.
Did you mention that Noel tried to blow Patatas the cat off the table?
I did not. I didn't notice that. I was too busy making notes.
Oh, well, it was Patatas the cat. One of the supporting characters from the TMCU.
Yes, but Katherine does try to make this garbage can fall over, I guess by rigging the bag as a sail. It doesn't work. So she grabs an umbrella and unfolds it and puts that on the table and then tries to use the hairdryer to blow it off. That doesn't work. She's forced with waving a book back and forth behind it, and that eventually gets off the table with seconds to spare. Then we get Josh, who grabs an exercise ball, a gallon of milk, and the leaf blower, with the idea that if he can't get the exercise ball to go off the table, he was going to use the gallon of milk and pour it on the table and blow it off, which I bet the prop people would have loved. But the leaf blower does work, and although not without the exercise ball does not roll off the table without a fight. I guess the table is ever so slightly lower in the middle than on the edges because the ball keeps rolling back to the center of the table, and eventually he gets it off. But it takes much longer than it should have. But anyways, on top of that, and that's basically what I would have done. I actually was thinking about it when I was watching this. I would have gotten the leaf blower and a sack of flour from the kitchen, and I would have dumped the flour on the tabletop and blown it all over, because that would have been substantial, wouldn't it? And then onto the scores. Rob is first. Josh and Katherine get second because Greg put Rob automatically first because he felt that was the most substantial, and then everything else he goes by size. So Josh and Katherine second, Bob fourth, Noel fifth. Then on to the third task,
the third and
which
final
is miraculous.
task. I'm taking this one. Our final VT task of the episode: perform a miracle. Katherine suggests childbirth, which, while that is a miracle, she only has 1 hour to do it. She has 1 hour to run home, get pregnant by her husband, conceive a baby, and then grow it enough and birth it in an hour, which she doesn't decide to choose to do.
Yes. A couple people discuss walking on water.
Yeah, but only one person does it. Rob does a funny little thing with his fingers, which I can't do.
And then I think, is it Josh who's frantically Googling what to do as a miracle?
Yeah, Josh, always panicking Widdicombe, has no idea what to do. You'll see Josh panic a bit, he'll take his approaches are so literal, and you'll see that in the next episode. Anyway, first up to bat is Noel, and he dresses as a lizard and walks on water, and there is clearly a clearly visible table inside a small paddling pool. And
then he pulls a glass of wine out of the water, which I thought was a fun touch.
Yeah, but there's so many shots there's so many shots Noel's just dancing and stuff. There's close-up shots of his feet, but either
legs that are clearly not.
He's either being suspended up in the air by someone, or they're his hands or something.
Yeah. To give a moment of context as to why Noel is doing this, he mentions that there is a lizard which can run across water. It actually does so by surface tension on the water, which that doesn't matter. He believes it to be called the Jesus Christ lizard, and that just sort of informs the joke that spews out of his head.
Yeah. Anyway,
which
Noel does get a glass of wine out of the water, and up next is Rob, and he orders 100 pizzas, and they get there in 20 minutes, and that's really all you need to know about his miracle.
I love this one. There is an image of him sitting on the couch in the main room of the Taskmaster house, surrounded by 100 pizzas, and I want that to be the thumbnail.
Yeah, we can make that
for this
thumbnail.
episode. That is the best picture I have ever seen.
Like,
someday I wish to imitate that.
I mean, as an American, that's probably an average Friday night meal.
Why don't you shut up? It's only 4 pizzas.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Go have some Greg's and a sausage, whatever it is.
I would happily have Greg's sausage.
There we go. Anyways, what does Katherine do?
Katherine is really hard to describe. But what she does is that she uses a trick to. No, I can try. Is she does a trick to get wine into a wine glass, like spilt wine back into a bell siphon trick, where she gets spilt wine from a tray into a wine glass, and then
what she does it's really cool. So the candle in the glass, because she's put a candle under a glass, and then that's on top of the tray. The candle burns all the oxygen out, creating a vacuum, and that sucks in liquid from the table. Which, incidentally, this is only the second time in all of Taskmaster that we have seen someone properly siphon something.
I mean, we haven't talked much about siphoning since the first series, and Frank Skinner banging on about... Although there was a bit of siphoning in Series 3, actually, I just remembered.
We had one brief moment where, for the first time in, like, the entire show, someone properly siphoned. This is the second time. And then...
then she tries to turn water into wine, I think. Like, she transports... Like, she puts...
She puts 2 glasses on top of each other. And, there's this trick you can do where you put a piece of paper over a glass and then you can turn it upside down. It holds it in there by surface tension, again. This is basically a thing where she slides it out from underneath. The 2 liquids form a solution, but the wine rises a bit because it's less dense than the water. For those of you who party a lot, what Katherine has done at the end, she has 2 glasses of wine. Actually, what she's done is she's cut 1 glass of wine with 1 glass of water. So it's not particularly strong wine anymore.
Okay, yeah, it must be because it's quite literally been watered down.
Yeah, that's why, like, drugs are, like, so dangerous nowadays, is because a lot of times when you buy, like, street drugs, they've been cut with something far more dangerous in order to have more drugs to sell.
Fair. Next up is Josh, and he does this weird thing with...
Actually, we also didn't get Katherine's 2 other miracles, which was summon plumber and random money handout. She gives someone £100 and manages to get a plumber there in 20 minutes, or 28 minutes. Both of which she considers miracles.
I mean, that's true. Honestly, I'm so tired at this point that everything's just a blur. But yeah, Katherine does do that. I mean, I was a little hesitant because, like, if someone calls you up and say, "Congratulations, you've won a bunch of money," I'd be a little suspicious.
It was someone she knew. I assume.
I mean, it didn't specify that.
Well, no. She went through her phone. She went through her phone's contact information.
That is a fair point, actually. I didn't really give that much thought. But yeah. So
then we have Josh Widdicombe's street miracles.
Yeah, he basically just performs street magic. He balances like 2 matchsticks on top of each other, like, so they're perpendicular, and one of them starts just bouncing up and down, and I've got no idea how he does it.
I remember reading about how he did that years ago, but that knowledge has since eluded me. All I could think about through this whole thing was, when you started talking about street miracles, was, did you ever see the David Blaine street magic videos from the early days of YouTube?
No, I don't think I've ever seen a David Blaine video.
No. This is not actually David Blaine. This is a David Blaine parody.
Oh, okay. No, I still haven't seen it.
This is very funny. I would recommend watching it sometime. They're a hoot. But that's what I was thinking of the whole time. Anyways, again, not very impressive. On to Bob.
Bob, I think I'm going to need some help with Bob's because I've literally all I've written is "what" in my notes.
Okay, in my notes. Okay, so we're gonna do this in chronological order. Bob emerges from the house, and we do get to see that there's in fact a golden archway. That's the first time I noticed that. He throws a ping pong ball into the air, catches it on his face, and then by scrunching up his eye, he manages to hold it there even when he turns his head vertically. Then a mannequin head on a skateboard rolls out from underneath him. He crouches down and then sets it on fire.
Jesus God.
I don't understand what that means, but if I've learned anything about miracles and generally Catholicism in general, being terrified by something you don't understand is probably closer to the spirit of a miracle than anything else here.
Most likely. Oh God, I'm so sorry. My head's.
We're almost done.
Yeah.
We're almost done. Power through. 10 more minutes.
We've had several technical difficulties this episode, and I'm not sure why, but we're going to press on.
Scores. Greg gave Rob 5th place. Noel and Bob got 2nd. Josh and Katherine got 1st.
Yeah.
Drop the Taskmaster Joe theme right here.
Taskmaster Joe. There we go.
Katherine and Noel get 5th place for very different reasons. Noel sucked. Katherine's was a bunch of impressive things that weren't miracles. That's just, I knew how she did all of them. Josh gets 4th place simply because I don't remember how he did that, but I'm sure I could look it up if I cared, and I don't. Bob gets 2nd because I'm honestly a little worried. Rob gets 1st place because holy shit, isn't modern society a miracle? We can have 100 pizzas delivered in but 20 minutes. That is amazing. I think that's the best thing ever. I want some pizza.
We have a difference of opinion in the studio, but now it's time to wrap up this episode with the live task. Joe, if you please.
Yes. Write down a word beginning with T. Every time Alex blows his whistle, the person with the second longest word takes a step down. Whoever writes the longest word misses a turn. If you write down one of Alex's special words, you advance an extra step. First to reach the floor wins. Just to set this up, they are standing on a flight of stairs they're sitting on a podium with 3 steps down to the ground. So presumably whoever does it 4 times wins. Noel correctly notes this is a nightmare for any dyslexic people, and it's explained again by Alex because it's very difficult to understand, but if you think it's difficult to understand this, think about making this out to be a podcast-friendly explanation. Every time someone writes down a word, the second longest word by letters goes. Noel gets the first one with the word tragically. Then Alex tells them to erase their boards because they have dry erase markers on whiteboards. And Alex tells them to erase their boards so that they can do this for the next round. And the boards don't erase because these are permanent markers. So
someone lost their job that day.
This is an actual real blooper that they kept in the show, and they give the second favorite image of this show, which is "New Pens, Please," as an actual screen. A title card on the screen. They have a picture of a pen and the caption, "New Pens, Please." Can we call that the episode? New Pens, Please?
We could subtitle it that.
We can do something with it. I think that's my favorite.
We'll make it the episode description.
Yes.
Because I still feel like the title that I came up with cannot be beat.
Okay.
You know what it is. You know what it is.
This is my favorite thing. If Rob hadn't had the pizza, I would have suggested this as the thumbnail. But anyways, next time we have Toblerone, which there was a tie for this one. Noel and Josh which means that there was a tie for this, and Noel and Josh both advance because that was Alex's special word, even though neither of them had it as the longest word. Second longest word. It's very dumb. Then everybody has to sit out because almost everybody had to sit out because they all got the longest word last time, which meant that Bob and Katherine were the only ones up. They both wrote the word to, T-O, which meant that they were both out, which meant that the next round, Rob got to advance with the word toilet. Then Katherine got to go up again, and this time a couple people were up, and she came down with the word tobacco. Then finally Noel, who is on the bottom step at this point, writes down the word toggle, and that is enough to win. And if you think that was confusing to understand, congratulations. You just watched it. I had to watch it twice. Holy shit. And then Noel, so as stated, Noel wins. Everyone but Bob comes in second place, and Bob comes last, which gives us to an episode-winning Katherine Ryan, who wins this episode with 20 points, and which is only 1 point ahead of most of the other people. And that's the episode, basically. Emerson, you should go to sleep. I apologize if this is a bit of a shorter end to the episode, but it's past midnight in the UK.
Yeah, we've had several technical difficulties.
Yeah, this is not as bad as our worst ever recording.
Yeah, this has not been our worst. I still sometimes think back to our first episode. Do you remember the absolute travesty that was?
That one was an absolute travesty, but this one is only 5 recordings on Zencastr. Yeah. So
what I'm going to do very quickly is that I'm going to smash all the recordings for each of us together, so that when I come to edit it tomorrow, I don't have to bang them all together.
Okay, cool.
And that'll take up less space on Audacity because I'm using fewer tracks.
Okay, cool. So I think we should hit end now, so that you can go to sleep and do that.
Okay.
All right.
Bye,
goodbye,
everyone.
everybody. See you next week. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.